Our top story this hour, some of the most intense fighting so far in the Ukrainian war is underway at Soledar in the east of the country. Russia's mercenary Wagner group, has claimed control over the town, but Kyiv says its soldiers are holding out. The fall of Soledar, a small salt mining town in the Donetsk region, could help Russian troops to encircle the nearby strategic city of Bakhmut. Our chief correspondent, John Cookson, has the story.
Troops from both sides have been taking heavy losses in some of the most intense trench warfare since Russia invaded Ukraine nearly 11 months ago. Taking control of a nondescript salt mining town on the road to Bakhmut is the goal, with Ukrainian forces slugging it out in close combat with the Russian army and Russian mercenaries from the Wagner group. Capture of Soledar by Russia would allow Putin's forces to inch closer to the regional city of Bakhmut, still in Ukrainian hands. Meanwhile, in an address to Hollywood's elite at the Golden Globe ceremony, Ukraine President Zelensky praised the resilience of Ukrainian forces.
It is now 2023. The war in Ukraine is not over yet, but the tide is turning, and it is already clear who will win. There were still battles and tears ahead. But now I can definitely tell you who was the best in the previous year. It was you, the free people of the free world, those who united around the support of the free Ukrainian people in our common struggle for freedom.
As the winter campaign drags on, with Russia intensifying its attacks in Kharkiv in the east, the US has announced Ukrainian forces will be trained in the States to use the Patriot missile system.
The training will prepare approximately 90 to 100 Ukrainian soldiers to operate, maintain, and sustain the defensive system over a training course expected to last several months. And once fielded, the Patriot will contribute to Ukraine's air defense capabilities and provide another capability to the Ukrainian people to defend themselves against Russia's ongoing aerial assaults.
As welcome as that news may be to Ukrainians, for the people of Kharkiv and elsewhere under attack, all they can try to do is to survive. John Cookson, Arise News.
And John Cookson joins us now from London for more. Good day, John, and welcome to the show. And of course, you've been monitoring events since they happened, actually. What's the latest now from Ukraine?
Hi, ladies. Good to see you. Well, the latest from the battle zone there that we saw in that report is the fighting, bitter fighting, heavy fighting is still going on. There's reports of bodies everywhere. The Russians are claiming that they've seized Soledar, and Western intelligence chiefs seem to be saying the same sort of thing. And indeed, the US Department of Defense says that there's a good proportion of Soledar has been captured by the Russians, which of course is very bad news for the Ukrainians, who are still in the center of Soledar and would presumably be surrounded by Russian troops. You can see on the map there where Soledar is, just north of Bakhmut. The area etched pink, of course, is in Russian hands. The area in white is in Ukrainian hands. And you can see that Soledar is right at the front line of the a disputed territory, that striped area on the map. So it looks like a win today for Russia, taking this strategically important town because it's a supply route to Bakhmut, which it wants to move on to afterwards. But the Ukrainians are putting up an incredible fight, and it's not over yet.
Well, thank you, John. Now, Zelensky told Hollywood elite that the tide is turning in the Ukraine war. Was he right?
He's right in the sense that billions and billions of dollars of Western aid and military equipment is starting to arrive in a major way in Ukraine. The Russians are fearful of this, of course. Tanks from France, the UK, Germany are slated to be sent to Ukraine, and they will make a difference. He's wrong in the sense that the Ukrainians are not in a position to win anything at the moment. And then we get into an area of talking about what does win actually mean. in the Ukrainian case, does it mean kicking the Russians out of the 4 annexed territories and also Crimea? If so, then Ukraine is a long way off from doing that. But Zelensky is right in the sense that he's been given, or his troops have been given, the power to throw the Russians out. But my goodness me, as indeed Zelensky acknowledged in his statement to the Americans last night, it's going to be a road paved with tears and big battles. And, this war is a long way off from being won by either side.
Absolutely. Mammoth task ahead, and new strategies being deployed now with Ukrainian troops, as you mentioned in your report, being trained in the U.S. Now, looking at the scale of this war, is this something that'll make a difference?
It will ultimately, but what you have to remember is that the training process, and that was acknowledged in the Pentagon spokesman there, will take months. So, we're looking now till next summer, perhaps, before Ukrainian troops are fully trained in the use of the Patriot missile system. Patriot missile systems aren't even on the way to Ukraine yet. I believe they'll be shipped from the US to Germany and then to Ukraine. So in the long term, it will make a difference, of course. The Ukrainians were better placed to defend themselves. But even with that system, and the Israelis have a very similar system for shooting down incoming rockets, it's not foolproof. I mean, Palestinian rockets still get through to Israel. And the Patriot missile system doesn't work very well at nighttime when Russians can use drones to huge impact, as we've seen in infrastructure. So long term, it will make a difference. Short term, nothing much until those Ukrainian troops are fully trained and the systems are in Ukraine, which probably, as I say, is going to be June, July of this year.
Indeed. Now, NATO and the EU are establishing a new task force. What's that all about?
Well, it really comes after, you'll recall that 2 pipelines were detonated under the Baltic Sea, the Nord Stream pipelines, and still no one's been found guilty of that. We really don't know which major state player carried out that bombing of the gas pipelines which run from Russia to Europe. So the EU and NATO are being pushed together sharply now at the moment to give more force to identifying which strategic installations in Europe are vulnerable to attack. And as a result of this initiative, a NATO task force, a naval task force, will be deployed in the Baltic in the coming weeks. So this is a joint effort announced today by Ursula von der Leyen, the EU Commission President, and also Jens Stoltenberg, the head of NATO, and it's the third and the latest in a round of treaties, if you like, between the EU and NATO.
All right, that's John Cookson, Arise Chief Correspondent, live from London. Thank you so much for that update, and we look forward to hearing more from you.